Notre Dame and USC, they traveled to Los Angeles, where Notre Dame is about a 7.5-point favorite right now, total in the low 50s. This game's Saturday, 3:30 Eastern time on CBS. Notre Dame has won 9 straight games. They've outscored their opponents 293 points in that span. It's by far the biggest point differential by any team since week 3. USC, on the other hand, 6-5 on the season. They have had a lead in all 11 games this year. So it's crazy to just kind of see where SC's at and how many leads they've choked away as the game's gone along. Let's start there. Number 1, can USC get off to a fast start and finish? Now, Notre Dame's got tons of pressure. Win and in situation for Notre Dame. They win, they're in the playoff. They win, they got a home field. They lose, they're probably out. We'll find out. But it should be noted that USC in the Maryland game, they blew a 2-touchdown lead. Against Penn State, they were up 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. Against Minnesota, they were up 17-10 and driving in the fourth quarter when Miller Moss threw an interception that led to 14 unanswered to see them lose 24-17. And then against Michigan, they were up 24-20 with under 3 minutes left. Michigan was sitting there at their own 15-yard line in 2nd and 11, and Michigan couldn't complete a pass. Next thing you know, 2 plays later, 63 yards where Mullings runs through some contact, and now they're within striking distance of a win. So can USC actually hang on this time and not give it away in the fourth quarter like they have so many times this year? Question 2, will Notre Dame be able to control the line of scrimmage on both sides? Look, Notre Dame's identity is clear. They want to bully you by running the football with their 2 running backs and their outstanding quarterback. They average 222 yards a game on the ground. That's 11th in the sport. They've gone over 198 rushing yards in all but 3 of their games. One of those 3 was against NIU when they ran for just 123 yards. Notre Dame's defense, also, they're going to try to generate some pressure. You watch this defensive front, they are relentless, they are physical, and albeit they've had some turnovers and some guys that have been in and out of the lineup because of injury from time to time this year, it doesn't matter. It's like next man up mentality along the front. They apply pressure on 45% of the opponent's dropbacks. That's 6th in the college football. Question 3, will USC try to run the football? So far, their run-pass ratio, they're only running it about 38% of the time. That's designed runs. I'm not talking about, scrambles, stuff like that. I'm talking designed runs, just 38% of the time. Well, 38% run is 16th lowest in the FBS, which is why they only run for 144 yards a game, which is why their rushing attack is 84th in the country. Statistically, Notre Dame isn't great against the run, which is a little bit surprising. I think it's also a little bit misleading because they've played some of the best rushing teams in the country and still only allow 133 yards per game. When you're playing service academies that are super committed to running the football, that number can maybe be a little bit inflated, even though I do think against a traditional set, Notre Dame's been very stout against the run. Question 4, can USC attack this secondary? Notre Dame right now is the number 1 ranked pass defense in the country. They give up about 139 yards a game through the year. Now, let's also acknowledge, if we're going to give credit to Notre Dame for their rush defense, let's also take a little credit away from their pass defense, because when you're playing against Army, how often is your secondary going to be at risk of being torched? Probably not, right? So maybe they're not the best in the country, but they're probably pretty dang good. And I do think when you look at SC's offense, Jaden Mayava, he's a playmaker, but he'll miss some throws now. I mean, this is a really diverse group of wide receivers. Zachariah Branch and Mekhi Lemon, really good catch and run guys. Kyron Hudson and Jacoby Lane, really solid, well-rounded wide receivers. And you have the massive mismatch that is Deuce Robinson, where he's got great length and is a huge problem in the red zone. Now, this is probably the best set of weapons that Notre Dame's seen all year. And without question, the best contingent of weapons that they've seen since Louisville. Louisville threw for 264 and scored 24 points. And Tyler Shuck got hit over and over and over and over again. He probably got hit 30 times in the game, but they did win some one-on-ones. Now, we know Notre Dame's going to play a lot of man. That's who they are. Nobody plays more man than them. Christian Gray, he's been incredible at corner on one side. Really, really impressed with how he stepped up this year. But on the other side, Leonard Moore has not been quite as good as the guy that he had replaced. Benjamin Morrison got injured earlier in the year, and prior to his injury, I think you make a case that he was the best cover corner in the FBS. So his absence against a deep wide receiver core could be a little bit challenging. So keep an eye on these corners for Notre Dame if they're having a hard time covering this excellent group of wide receivers. Question number 5, will USC turn the ball over? It's pretty simple for SC. They are 3-0 this year when they keep a clean sheet offensively. So when they don't turn it over, they win. And in the 4 losses that led to Miller Moss's benching, he had thrown 7 interceptions. That's why USC was 0-3 on the road. Now, Jordan Mayava comes in, makes his second start, turnover-free performance against UCLA. Now, you watch him against Nebraska, there were some dicey moments. Had a pick 6. There were also a few very dicey throws against the Bruins. Threw an end zone fade to Jacoby Lane that was deflected and could have easily been intercepted. He also threw one right into a UCLA defender's hands. That was a problem. He also fumbled on a strip sack, but it was recovered. So I think that's something worth watching. And Mayava has started 13 games in his career at UNLV and USC. He's thrown 10 interceptions and has fumbled it 7 times. So he's got to keep a clean sheet because when they do, they have a real chance of winning the football game. I'll take Notre Dame to win and cover. USC is too one-dimensional. I think they play right into Notre Dame's strengths of being able to pound the football. I think Notre Dame is far more talented than Michigan, and Michigan took the fight to SC. I think Notre Dame will do the exact same thing.